Welcome to She's Crafted to Thrive, a show for women in photography and other creative businesses. You will hear conversations about the real everyday struggles of juggling life and business while trying to maintain passion and balance. As women, we have the skill of getting things done, but sometimes we get in our own way. It's here where you'll see that you're not alone. You'll discover that success does not mean perfection. Fear, negative thoughts, and challenges are all part of the journey. On the podcast, you'll find the inspiration and tools you need to have a life and business that thrives. On this episode of She's Crafted to Thrive, our guest is Cierra Camper, a young photographer who's serious about her business. Guys, this girl has things together that I don't think most 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds may have together. What I love about this is she gives great advice on how making the choice to run your business like a business really can create momentum. I'm super excited to have Cierra on, and what I'm excited about is that we've known each other through a Facebook group, Snap Society, and we met that way and kind of just kept touch in the last 6 months, and she has made massive transition in her work and what she's doing in her photography business, and I'm super excited for her to share kind of like her journey and her path this way. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, first, my name is Cierra. I run CMC Photography, and it's based in Panama City, Florida, in the Northwest region of Florida. My hopes is to one day get into travel photography, but right now I'm just sticking it in Panama City, enjoying life, doing photography, going more into wedding photography than anything else. And that's it. I'm 19, small business owner, so just started an LLC. It's official now, and hoping to pursue this for good. This is everything. So
that's awesome. So this is like your plan A. Your plan A.
Plan A and B and C.
Yeah, I know. Offline, we were talking about you were in school. What were you in school for?
Yes, I'm in school for entrepreneurship, and they just basically, it's kind of like it's a program, and technically it's supposed to be, it's just like any ordinary college program, but it has the feel of it being a mentorship, because all of your professors are business owners. They're entrepreneurs. They're very successful. And so it's more of a mentorship. You choose what business you want to start, and then they just help you do all of the basics of it and kind of branching it out into becoming a bigger business and just giving you all the tools and resources that you need.
Cool. That's so funny. When I was in school, I don't think there was that course. I don't think that was a thing. Entrepreneurship. I don't think we had that option as a class. I don't even know what that would look like, except what you're telling me. So that's pretty cool. So what I'm really excited though is to talk to you about how did you get here? I know it's been 6 months, and I feel like if you follow you online, you can see that you have kind of changed. Your passion, I feel your passion more, and I feel like that you really enjoy it. So tell me a little bit about your journey in the last 6 months.
Okay. Biggest transition would be going from just doing under the table transactions type deal that photographers do. I mean, honestly, that's how it is. You just it's just more of a hobby type deal starting out for every photographer. But I was like, no, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to become a business. So I became an LLC, got everything in order for that. And then, just deciding what I wanted to pursue exactly. Photography, I didn't realize how broad photography actually was. So, I mean, did I want to do commercial photography? Did I want to do more personal? Did I want to do weddings, newborns? What did I want to specialize in? And whenever I decided that couples and weddings is definitely where my passion is, then that's whenever I took a huge turn in my photography and making sure that I pursue those types of clients, and that, photography, the reason I chose photography is because it's so you can individualize yourself so well in the market. And once you know how to do that, then you're kind of set, and you enjoy yourself a lot more. Part of being an entrepreneur is because you want to enjoy yourself, your work and everything. So that really helped a lot in my transition of 6 months ago versus now, how crazy of a difference it is. If you go look at my work from January and before in December, it is a drastic change from then to now. So I'd say a lot of it has to do with making sure that I became a business. It became real.
No, you know, that is such a powerful statement because I think that's a struggle. Even if you're doing like photography as a side hustle, like it's like your side gig for maybe doing school full time or working full time, you can get in the habit of treating it
Right.
like a hobby and still not a business. And those are two different type of incomes, hobby versus a real business, you know. So with photography, you're right. There's huge lane of things to be doing. And I think when we first talked, you that was something you're like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I don't know what I just do everything right now because I just like photography, but I don't know what I wanted to do. So, what specifically made you like say, okay, weddings? That's where I want to go. That's really what I want to do.
I started doing this like online schooling for photographers, and it's called the Academy. And I just pay a monthly fee. They finally opened it up to where you could do monthly payments. Before it was like one payment deal, and they opened up the monthly payments. And so I decided to do it. And I remember one of the courses that I was doing, one of the things they said is the reason we're photographers or entrepreneurs is because we want to enjoy what we do. We don't ever want to have to go to work and it feel like we're going to work. And so it said, I kind of thought about that, and I was like, that's why I started. But now it's like, ugh, I have today, really. And one of the things that Caitlin James had said on there, she said that a way to try to figure out how you want to do it is whenever you're going to a session, are you excited or are you dreading? And if you're dreading it, then you need to cut out that type of session. And I realized like every family session, for some reason, every family session, I'm like, I got a family session tonight. Oh, I got to edit this family session. But with couples, I'm like, yes, I got a couple session. I get to edit it. I'm so excited to deliver this to the clients. Like, this is awesome. And so I was like, I definitely need to be more passionate about what I'm doing. So let me just do more couples often. And I'll be able to give my clients the I don't know, I don't know how to word this right, but I'll be able to give them a better experience if I'm enjoying it rather than if I'm not. They don't deserve to
Yeah.
have a photographer who's dreading that session.
I love that. No, that is so true. And wow, you said a lot, but I think that's a lot of photographers. They start loving doing photography and then they get into the rut or like just the going, I need this, I need to make this money or I need to do this shoot or something like that. And it becomes a job that you hate. And it's a creative business. It's a creative business where you're supposed to be connecting to people, so people can feel that off of you. If you're like, oh, another family session,
Right.
like they can feel that, right? So I love that you recognize that you have to have that connection. Like I can't be like this person who doesn't like doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
um, and capture moments
Exactly.
without liking the moments.
And
It's
don't get
kind
me
of
wrong, I
weird.
still do love family sessions. They are fun to do, but for some reason, something in me just I wasn't as passionate about it, and I was more passionate about I was here. I was more passionate about having to do couple session than I was about doing family sessions. It it was just I don't know why. There's nothing specific that it wasn't like the clients they always tend to be like this. There was nothing specific. It was just how it was, and the clients don't deserve to do that to have that. They pay that
Gotcha.
money. They need somebody who's passionate about it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. They don't only just spend money for the time, they also spend money like in the sense of the time itself. Like they give you that time. So they want to enjoy it. It's not like, going to the grocery store and they have to have you.
Exactly.
This is extra for them. Like this is a treat for them. So I love that you connected to that. That's awesome. So I know you connected to wedding photography, but something else I feel like had to change with your mindset in order for you to even go down this route. So, did something like happen in your life where you were like, I need to, if this is going to work, like, I feel like maybe you had a path and you're like, I have to make this decision or I have to do something. Did something happen?
It's a little off topic, but it was the true reason that why I chose wedding photography and why I chose photography as a whole, but specifically wedding photography. And it was that, I wish I could turn that off, but it was that one time me and my boyfriend, we were talking and he was like, he was saying that I was like, babe, we should go on this date. We should go and do this. He's like, we just did that. And I was like, no, we didn't. He was like, yeah, like 7 months we did that. And I was like, no, didn't happen. And he was like, I'm going to go find that picture we took. And he found a picture. And then I remember the whole night clearly. And then even whenever we're just at family gatherings or something, we're out with our friends, they say, hey, Sierra, do you remember? And then I'm like, no, I don't remember when that happened. They're like, I don't even know why I asked you. You never remember anything. Awful, but whenever that specific thing happened where my boyfriend, he had to show me that picture for me to remember, I was like, if we never took that picture, that would have been a memory lost completely. And so I was like, that's why I got into photography, is because I wanted to help these families. Originally, whenever I was doing family photography, I wanted to help the families remember when their baby's hand was that tiny, remember when they giggled that certain way. But like I said, my passion just wasn't in family photography, and I realized it was in couples. And I was like, the wedding day is huge, and people get so caught up in the logistics of your wedding. I attended a friend's wedding, and she was saying how stressed out she was. She's like, I didn't even enjoy my wedding day. It was so stressful. And they're like, so thankfully we have the pictures to at least remember some of the good times. And so I was like, I want to do that. And the photographer is with the bride more than anybody else on the wedding day. So it's like, if I can I'm passionate about couples, and if I can help them have a great experience on their wedding day, and when somebody comes up and tries to stress them out, be like, let me handle that, okay? We're going to put this bridesmaid to go and handle that. We're not stressing out the bride on her day. We're going to make her enjoy it. And then no matter what, the bride and the groom are still going to get caught up in the logistics of the wedding day and making sure things are on time. But I want to be able to gift them with the photographs that in 10 years they can look back on and be like, I forgot that happened. I forgot so-and-so was there and danced like that. Like, I want to be able to give them that. And wedding days are so huge because that's something that's a huge step in somebody's life. That's a huge chapter change. You go from being single, and then now you're thinking about a family. You're sharing everything with this one person, and it's all because of that one day happening. So I wanted to be able to create a album for a bride and a groom that they can look back on, they can love, and they can remember. Because even the same friend, she was like, I mean, I don't even remember who all was there. Like, I got so caught up in everything. I don't remember who all was there. So just getting photos of everybody dancing and, all of the kids having fun, any type of photo to help the bride remember every single moment of the day, even whenever they were in a different room than everybody else. They can still remember that day because that day was all about them. They need to be able to remember that day. And so me not being able to remember a date, I was like, that's why I want to do photography. And then I became so passionate about couples. I was like, wedding, that's a huge thing. I mean, yeah, it's one thing to take family portraits and one thing to take couples portraits and event photography, but wedding is one of the biggest days of somebody's life. So if we can make that great, then we can create more moments in somebody else's life when they look back on that.
Yeah, you are so right. My husband and I have been married 10 years in September. And we just recently went to go visit my mom, and she has, I guess I didn't really realize it or think about it, but we were looking back at pictures and we're like, oh my gosh. And it's like the day just came back. We were like talking about it for the whole week. For the rest of the week, we were talking about, oh my gosh, remember, da, da, da. And it was because someone captured those moments. And for a week, that's what we talked about. And it wasn't even our anniversary. It was just a nice memory. And then it created more moments of remembering those moments. So it's like super awesome. And I really connect to that. Like, I totally believe that if you have someone to capture. And you're so right. The photographer is with that bride all day. And then probably the day before, just, making sure they're on the phone and everything. I call wedding photographers bride event planners in a sense, because they do so much. They plan and like, okay, where's this going to be so I can make sure I get this shot and make this moment. They're just really into all the details.
And I think it has a lot to do with being able to create the perfect day for the bride, because you have to be in sync with the DJ and the wedding planner to make sure that everything's running smoothly and to make sure that you can get the shots. Because if you don't know when they're about to do that game and you're not in the right spot, you don't have your lighting in the right spot, then you didn't get that shot. So you really do have to it's not just taking photos. It's more to than taking photos. And I mean, going and visiting the venue beforehand, you're with the bride a lot throughout the wedding planning process. So you want to make sure that you can get all of the shots, because you even see all that the bride's doing in preparation. So you want her to be able to remember everything.
So I want to go back to something we talked about a second ago, which was finding your passion, finding your inspiration. I know you shared that story and like didn't even know it connected, but what kind of decision? I mean, for example, this week you're like just working your business, like you're working your business, you not doing school this summer, you know, what clicked for you that this needs to run like a business? Like, what do you think, okay, I got to do this and I got to do it this way?
I was stagnant. I wasn't making any progress in my business. I wasn't making any progress in my style, my sessions, anything. I was really stagnant, and it was becoming a point to where like I wasn't making any more money because I was so stagnant. It was routine work, wasn't enjoying it. And the clicking moment for me, I'd say, is whenever I spoke to another photographer and she was just growing and growing and growing. And I asked her, I was like, what are you doing to grow? And she was like, I got serious. Like, no joking. I got serious. And I was like, okay, how do I get serious? And I was talking to my dad, and he has an entrepreneurial mind. He's started we're military, so we've moved, so he's never been able to start like an actual business. But everywhere we're stationed, he started some type of small business for that year while we were stationed there, or however long. And so I was talking to him, and I was like, I'm stagnant. I don't know what to do. Somebody said get serious, but I feel like I am serious. So I was like, I don't know. And he was like, well, why don't you become an LLC? Because that's a year commitment. You have to do taxes at the end of the year. So that's a year commitment if you become an LLC, and then do it full time in the summer, because I'm still doing my program, but he recommended I do it full time in the summer. And then if I can keep myself busy, then I have a future, because I can consistently find working, making sure that I am growing and I'm not staying stagnant. And the clicking moment for me would be, I'd say it have a lot to do with getting to a point where I was like, I don't have any sessions this week, so I have nothing to do for photography. But that's not true. There's so much more I can be doing. So just wanting to pursue it more and figuring out how, and then that helped me find my passion. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. Yeah, no, that definitely answers my question, because it's kind of like, I don't know what that, my brain is just going to blank. When people have to decide whether or not they have a problem and admit that they have a problem. Well, that's kind of what this is. It's like, okay, I'm doing something, or what is it? You're insane or you're crazy to just keep doing the same thing over and over again, expect a different result. It's the same thing in business. Like, if you just keep going and doing the same thing and don't recognize, okay, and something needs to change for something to actually happen, you know, that's what you decided. You're like, okay, how are you growing and I'm not growing? I understand, exactly. You know, so that was, to me, that answers the question. And I think it takes self-awareness and it takes courage to admit, okay, what I thought was working or what I thought I wanted to do is not working. And in order for me to really pursue my passion, I have to figure it out. I've got to start from scratch. I've got to ask people know and have that experience. And I love that you went to another photographer, because who's doing it, who's like, you're seeing her progress and thrive, and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? You know? So that's awesome.
It was ironic. Whenever we worked together, she was like, it's crazy. She's like, you're coming to me, but I thought it was huge CMC Photography reached out to me. And I was like, because you're doing amazing. So if anything, it's huge that I'm talking to you right now.
I love it. Women are so, we're just funny. We're just funny. So what things are you doing right now to kind of grow? You've been really busy. You've been having clients. Like, what kind of things are you doing right now to get clients?
Branding is huge. Never realized how huge branding was. And I'm really trying to make a move on my branding right now. And I think that's helped a ton. And a lot of people don't understand the whole style situation in photography. That's something, especially non-photographers, they are like, what? And so, But it helps because whenever a client's looking for you, they don't even realize they're looking for a specific style whenever they're looking for a photographer. And so, and I feel like style and brand go hand in hand with each other. You can't have a brand if you don't have a style, and vice versa. So, just staying busy with trying to make sure that everything is consistent and that somebody can look at one part of my business and it's not going to surprise them at all if they look at another part of my business. If they look at my marketing, it's not going to surprise them whenever they look at who is behind the camera. And whenever they look at my style of photography, it's not going to surprise them whenever they look at my website and it's like, oh wait, that doesn't match. That's not the same thing. What's going on here? And I never realized how huge that was. And so that helped a lot whenever I started doing the academy online and I started taking those courses, because it's like 8 courses, I believe. And it's like really Caitlin James and Aaron and Jordan Demos. I don't know if these are ringing any bells to you. I mean, there's so many great, amazing photographers on there, and it's just teaching you the wedding business, not so much of how to use your camera, but just the business photography, and it's strictly about weddings. And that's helped a lot, and just making sure, like I said before, that I'm always doing something. So if I'm in a rut of I don't have anything to do right now, I need to go find me something to do. Do I need to work on a marketing strategy? Do I need to start creating more ads? What do I need to be doing right now to be getting my business moving? Because if I'm doing nothing, then my business is doing nothing.
Yeah, even if it's the smallest thing.
Like right now, I'm printing all of my old contracts that I've never done. I've never printed my contracts, but I'm like, if something happens to the site, all of my contracts are done. So this week I've been printing all of them and organizing all of them and everything. So
yeah, it's the piece. I think that's the piece of business that a lot of creative minds in general just avoid like the plague, because it's not creative. It's the work behind, it's the work behind the photography. It's the work behind the creativity. But in order to have a thriving, successful business that you can keep doing your passion, you have to kind of do that other work or find someone else to do it for you. Exactly. So, it's got to be done. So how are you balancing, doing all of this? I know you're a girlfriend, your daughter, your granddaughter. I always see you posting pictures with your family. You seem like you spend a lot of time with your family, which is awesome. But how do you balance all of that? Life, work, school, boyfriend?
I will not do more than 3 sessions a week. If I have more than 3 sessions a week, I'm overloading myself. Because then that's 3 nights, because I do all my sessions at nights. That's 3 nights that are being taken up, and I'm not going to be able to spend time. And I'm in a small group now too, so that's 1 night taken up. And then because me and my boyfriend, we've been together so long, we balance between his family and my family when we're doing dinner at whose house, just like simple things like that. So 7 nights a week almost isn't enough. So I will not do more than 3 nights of photography. And then I work at the time he and my family are working. My mom works an 8 to 5 job. He works and he works early morning and gets off at 3. And my dad works early morning and gets off at 3. And his parents are the early morning gets off at 3 type job too. So I wake up early in the morning and I get done with all my business stuff at 3. And then I can spend time with my family from that point on, spend time with him. I mean, there are occasional days where I'm like, I'm behind, I need to work on this session, but everybody has those moments. But I definitely don't do that often. And wake up early in the morning, I work until they all get off. Sometimes it'll be he'll go hang out with his friends and my dad has something to do, so then I get some extra work done that day until my mom gets off, and then we all do dinner together. Just something simple. I just try and work when they work, because they don't have a choice on when they work. I do. So I'm just going to schedule it around them, and then I can do my sessions 3 nights a week. And sometimes I'll even go a week where I don't have a session, so then I have an extra 3 nights that week. So just making sure that there's not a time. And if I catch myself saying no to something fun or creating a memory, if I say no to something creating a memory because I have to work, I have to reevaluate myself, because I'm like, I need to create memories. I need to have fun. I'm only 19, so I need to enjoy my life still. And I'm not going to be that person who works my life away. I want that work-life balance. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and we're going to all go-karting tonight. But in the morning, I'm going to wake up an hour earlier and get that work that I think I need to do now done.
Wow. That's such a mature attitude and plan, because there are people who are way older than that and they are still not on that playing field yet. They are still trying to figure that out. I think it tells a lot about what you find important. To me, that's everybody's balance is different because everybody's situation is different. And I think what you decide works for you is only going to work for you. It's not going to work for everyone else, but knowing what works so that you have that time to like refresh yourself and be with your family is awesome because I'm still learning that and I'm in my 30s. So you're far ahead of most of us. That's awesome.
I think it has a lot to do with me being a military brat because family has always been huge because it's only been my household family. We've never had like the aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, none of that. It's always been just us. So it's always been really important. My family has prioritized that we have dinner time together. That's just huge. And it's not like a sit at the table formal dinner. We're all watching TV, our favorite show, giggling and laughing, having conversation, and eating dinner. And that's something that's always been huge. And I think it has a lot to do with my mom making sure we ate. But that was just a little side thing. But exactly. So doing that growing up really helped me a lot prioritize family. And luckily, by the grace of God, my boyfriend prioritizes family also. So having that as, before starting my business, having that as like secondhand nature, prioritizing family and friends, I think that helped a lot with deciding how I was going to do my work-life balance because it wasn't a question. There's a lot of people who are single and they get on with their lives and they start their business and then they create that family. And so it's like, wait, how do I make this transition now? But luckily I've had that for a long time. And so that was a priority before my business was even thought of.
That's awesome. Yeah. That way you put everything on top of that. It wasn't the last piece. I think that's the other thing that happens. People they put work, all this other stuff in, and then they try to fit family on top, and that doesn't work. It's the other way around, and that's awesome that your family has helped you create that foundation.
Yeah, for sure.
Best advice you've ever been given?
Be yourself. So cliche. I mean, I know that's cliche. Everybody always says that, like, oh, the best advice I've ever given is just you're unique. I know how cliche it sounds, but I've never taken it seriously. And especially in a creative world, that's huge. I never realized it. And so, I mean, you can say be yourself as far as like, as a woman, loving yourself without makeup. Like, yeah, that's be yourself. But I'm talking more about like, be yourself in a creative aspect of your style of photography, the way you run a business. Don't have to be so like, that's what I struggled with in the beginning too, is like trying to be too professional, like, I guess. But no, if I'm just myself, it doesn't matter if I make a mistake whenever I speak. We're human, doesn't matter. So just making sure that I'm authentic with everybody, I'm myself, and that was just a huge advice. And it came a couple months ago whenever, in regards to my style, they were like, be yourself with your style. I'm like, how do I be myself with my style? Like, the way I edit doesn't have anything to do with me, is the way I used to think, but it does. And so whenever I found myself through editing, I honestly found myself through editing. It was, okay, what do I like? What catches my eye? If something catches my eye, then that obviously has something to do with who I am. And so that's how it started. And then the way my client meetings ran so much smoother now that I'm myself and I'm comfortable. And the way that my sessions ran, I mean, everything just runs so much smoother after I started being myself. And it's amazing. It's so cliche, but it is so true. It's the truest cliche statement I've ever heard.
Yeah, no, I am learning, and I continue to learn and appreciate that truth of being yourself, being who you are. Like, the quirks are what makes you, and that's usually what people are drawn to in the first place. And if they're not, then they're not the person you need to be with, or they're not the client that you want to serve.
That's so true.
Especially in photography, because I remember back in the day when you would hire a photographer and you would tell a photographer, oh, well, I want my picture to look like this, and I want you to change it to be this, and da-da-da-da, and da-da-da, and you just be like, as a photographer, you feel like I am stifled, mm-hmm. and I am confined, and I'm like stuck in doing this thing that I hate. But you, the client, are saying that you want it this way, and you already paid me, so I got to do it, versus this is my style. When you sign a contract with me, this is me. So that's what you're going to get. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Exactly. And that has a lot to do with, I've realized too, something along the lines of that is if you do make that exception, okay, we're going to get this one photo, you request it, some sepia photo, a sepia edit, something like that. Okay, we're going to do it. Then don't post that. Don't put that on your website. Don't put it on your Instagram or your Facebook page or anything, because then that's going to tell people, oh, they'll do this whenever I want them to. Then let's go to them, and then they're going to do it all the time. And then that becomes, okay, now I got to meet the client's request. I can't be myself. I can't show my artsy side or anything like that. So if you do it, if you make that exception because you are a nice person and you're like, okay, yeah, we're going to get this one photo of all of y'all standing the specific way you want to stand. Just don't post it and don't market that, because then you don't want that all the time. But you can still be nice and give that client that one photo and use the other 55 minutes to do what you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's great advice too. Just put out there what you want to attract, right? Just put out there. And if the client wants something random, then you give it to them and be like, that's for you. But, well, I am super excited that we did this. I just can't wait to see more of what you're doing, and how, you have so much growth left to do. I mean, you're 19 years old. So I'm super excited for you. Any awesome, exciting projects happening for you anytime soon you want to tell me about or share?
I am getting into the in-home lifestyle sessions for families, because I did realize that a lot of things that I dreaded about a family session was the posing. It was so awkward. And I wanted to catch the authenticity. And I still do get those family inquiries, and I'm like, yeah, I would love to do this for you, and I would enjoy it. But I need a way to make sure that it's authentic, and in-home sessions are actually the way to go. Never realized that. And I did my first ever, I did an in-home session for a family friend a little while back, but it wasn't what I was expecting. And then, but I did my first ever true, organized by me, but in their house type session. And it was amazing. It was so much fun. She treasured those photos more than the other photos that we had done previously of them. We're going out to this empty field and doing all this fun stuff with each other. But those photos, they were probably prettier. They were prettier photos. Makeup and hair was done. The family was color coordinated. Those were probably easier to look at to an outsider, but that in-home session means so much more. And one of the comments she said was this is our first home ever. And so it's just where they created their family. And so little things like that, that's the new things coming. I'm about to launch on my website, that part to it. I'm about to actually launch a sale going on that the first 5 are 50% off, so that I can create more in my portfolio against that. And if I get more than 5 inquiries, then it's going to be I don't want to say application process, because that's not what it is, but in the sense of okay, who's going to work with me more to give me what I want out of this, not in a selfish way, but in the reason I'm offering it 50% off is to grow my portfolio. So which is going to grow my portfolio best. So those are the exciting things coming. I'm still sticking with the weddings. Weddings are my main 100%, and couples and everything. But that's just something fun and a way to give back to somebody, to have that authentic photos to look back on. And because my past brides, they're starting families. So it's I still want to work with you, but you're not really a family photographer, So
right, exactly.
We can work together. We can do the in-home session, and we're comfortable with each other because I did your wedding.
It's a great marriage that way. Yeah, there's a couple of photographers that I follow that do the in-home photography family shots, and they're awesome. And I know that if it's for you personally, they mean more to you, your family, than a random person. But even a random person is oh, that's so cool, or that's so sweet, or that's, so I love that you're doing that. That's great.
Yep, that's the new thing coming. So hopefully it works the way I want it to. If not, it's a learning lesson. So
I'm sure it will. Well, thank you for coming on, and tell us where we can find you online.
Okay, so I'm said to be CMC Photography, but whenever I created everything, I wasn't the wisest. I didn't know anything about it. So I'm Photography by CMC on everything. So www.photographybycmc.com. On Facebook, you can find me if you do the @ Photography by CMC. And then my page name is CMC Photography. And then my Instagram is @Photography by CMC. Anything Photography by CMC, that's where you can find me. CMC Photography is the same thing.
Perfect. Well, like I said, I'm just happy to have you on. I'm so excited for you. And thank you so much. Thank
No
you.
problem. Thank you. This is great.
All right, ladies, thank you for listening, and I hope this conversation inspired you. Be sure to subscribe and tell a friend. That's it on this episode. And yes, you are crafted to thrive.